Hey everyone, looks like we are live. My last night in Zim tonight. I haven't really been on holiday, but it's been pretty cool to be here, to be out of the UK, be away from the somewhat failed UK summer. Zimbabwean winter's been a lot better place to be. Yeah, just next to the lap pool, gym's over there. I'm gonna miss this place. It's been it's like being in a health spa. It's just my partner Sarah's brother-in-law's place. Pretty awesome house. It's not a health spa, it looks like one. Recording studios over there. It's a new gig for him. He's been selling his shares in Makuri, which is a money transfer business. Basically creating solutions for the Zimbabwean currency crisis that has been going on for about 20 years. And it's been pretty profitable by the looks of things. So yeah, he's got a big recording studio here. He's always had a band for the last 20 years, and it's kind of a passion project for him. So yeah, pretty cool place. Cool, so let's get into the market today. Still kind of a chop fest for crypto, but there is stuff going on. If you look beneath the surface, if you look at what's happening in macro with liquidity, with gold, there's quite a few interesting developments to have a look at. So just to start again with the VIX, I'll just do this really quickly because I don't want to bore you guys. But yeah, the VIX pumped massively hard into this carry trade yen situation. Carry trade unwind. It's been a flash crash. It's come all the way back down to 14, peaked in the mid 60s, which is just massively high, only beaten by the COVID crash for volatility. Massive sell-offs in crypto and stocks. And if we look at the S&P has almost fully recovered. We're back at 5,600. Huge week last week, massive engulfing bullish candle on the weekly. The highs are at 5.7. We're at 5.6 now. It's looking really good for Tradfi. Less good for us, as seems to be the trend. Let's just have a look at RSI. See how overbought we are. What's happening there? I haven't really looked at that, so let's do this live. Bit of a bed of here almost. So we'll see how that develops. Ideally, you want to see this make new highs. And if we're going to have a bull market into 2025, we don't really want TradFi to fail on the weekly. So hopefully we make a new high here at some point. I mean, this can run into October probably sometime. We'll be up here if we keep trending up. But it's looking good on a purely PA base. Yeah, lots of volume coming in. And then just a quick look at XLU, which is interesting because in a situation there's a high chance of recession, you see things like XLU do really well. XLU is the utilities ETF, the main utilities ETF. It's a very typical risk-off play. And one way to know if the market is hedging against recession is to look at the XLU charts. Hasn't made new highs yet on the weekly, but it's had a bullish run for, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 weeks of bullish PA. But right here, it looks to me like it could be rolling over. You can see the stock is starting to roll over, which is showing a loss of momentum. The RSI looks like a bit of a bear div. Looks like it might be rolling over here, making a lower high, which shows some weakness. Prices already made higher highs, so it should be up here. If you have momentum, it looks like we don't, which is good. If this thing sells off, it means that people are getting out of the safe havens and getting back into risk on positions, which is what we want to see for bullish crypto price action. We want to see the risky plays get some love. And it looks like they might be about to, or they have been in TradFi at least already. And then this was interesting. China Central Bank says Shanghai produced an agreement with the US Treasury, so that's Janet Yellen. to appoint contact people to deal with any future financial stress events. So this is alluding to a lack of bond volatility going forward. China being the biggest holder of US Treasuries. And if they have an open dialogue with regard to dealing with volatility, financial stress events, is basically just, a euphemism for sorting out volatility in the market, then this is bullish for a low move index, which is the bond volatility index. And as you can see, it tried to pump into the carry trade unwind. That pump failed, rejected the pump from its life, which is a good thing for us. And looks like we're trending this, this whole rounding top market structure has been preserved. And we're trending back down here. This is where we want to see it. Under 95 is a good place to be. The lower it is, the more you can leverage up bonds as collateral. In a low volatility regime, it's safe to leverage up your bonds, which essentially creates more liquidity for people to buy risky stuff like magic internet money. So yeah, this is good. The uptrend is here on the RSI. I don't know if this gets broken. It would be nice to see. But it's still got a ways to come down before it hits that uptrend. Stock's still coming down. So yeah, this looks good for liquidity. And then just a quick look at the DXY. This here is net USD liquidity, basically the Fed, all the Fed's liquidity injections and trickery and fuckery to pump the availability of US dollars to be spent in the markets, which is what we want. This downtrend still looks to me like it is going to be broken soon. It looks like we're compressing underneath it. Just to zoom in on that so you get a better picture. Let's get rid of this. As you can see, DXY has been dumping pretty hard, but we haven't been reaping the benefits of that. But do we ever reap the benefits? I think I'm assuming the issue for Bitcoin has been all the sell pressure from stuff like Mt. Gox, stuff like the Silk Road seizures are being sold off again, which was always scheduled. That was always going to happen. So yeah, lots of selling pressure still working its way through the system. Hopefully that is starting to come to an end. I don't have that data in front of me today. It's just a quick stream because I'm traveling shortly. But I'll go more into it as the week progresses. Not tomorrow because I'm flying back to the UK. I won't be around until much later tomorrow night. So next stream will be on Wednesday. But yeah, this looks promising. If we can just get all these government fucking jeets and Mt. Gox and Silk Road jeets out of the market, can deal with that shit which has been building up. Mt. Gox and Silk Road has been a source of FUD for, I don't even know, longer than I've been around, 8-10 years. So once that's done, it's done, and hopefully we can ascend. Yeah, and then this is just an interesting tweet from Charles Edwards. It's definitely worth a follow. He creates Bitcoin indicators and tracks a lot of Bitcoin data. So here he is basically looking at global money supply divided by GDP, which is interesting. Because there's a solid trend line here that we've come back to. So this is where global money supply tends to turn around and increase versus GDP. Basically, we exist in a Ponzi of money printing, and in order for GDP to continue up, we need to have money printed, which looks like it's about to happen. GDP, money supply M2 versus GDP divided by GDP has finally returned to its multi-decade growth trend line. Note how money supply growth outpaces economic output over time. And then just to continue with Charles, this is another interesting tweet from a few days back on the 13th, from a week ago. I think I may have discussed this before. I talked about it in chat in Discord. So this is just, and he got a lot of shit for this, but I think it's a pretty good chart. And it only goes back to 2020, which kind of makes sense because we had that massive liquidity event around COVID where everyone got their helicopter money and jammed it into meme stocks and whatever shitcoins that were going up. But anyway, what you can see here is in gold is Bitcoin, and then in, conversely, black is gold. Should be the other way around, but anyway. Basically, he's drawn gold and moved it 3 months down the timeline to show the correlation with Bitcoin. So essentially, the point is that gold pumps, and then 3 months later, Bitcoin follows suit. And just having thought about this, I think what's actually happening here is that you're seeing in deflation gold pumps as basically a risk-off option when you're looking at recessionary conditions. And then also what happens is in a recession, you get money printing, you get easing, and then 3 months later, Bitcoin responds to that and follows the gold pump, essentially. Both Bitcoin and gold obviously are monetary debasement hedges. So when you get money printing, both gold and Bitcoin will pump, but not at the same time. Gold tends to pump first. And then Bitcoin, because it's a risky asset, you have to wait for the easing to kick in for there to be extra liquidity, and then people will buy Bitcoin. So I think that's what's happening here. And then Nick just jumped on this today with similar observations. All else being equal, basically what he's looking at here is Bitcoin versus gold divided by gold. So the Bitcoin chart divided by the gold chart. Bitcoin in bull cycles obviously tends to make new highs against gold. It's supposedly the new version of gold, the digital version of gold. Bitcoin now needs to hit 90K to make a new all-time high versus gold, and he's convinced that it will in due course. Kind of makes sense, I guess. So I just put that on a chart, and this is what it looks like. There's a bunch of levels here. Let's just get some space going. So these reversal levels, these pivots were interesting to me. Quite a nice clean chart. These are the highs at the end of the bull market in 2017, then crushing bear market into 19, the COVID dump, and then gold pumped first out of the COVID dump, and then Bitcoin followed suit. So these are the first highs in 2021 in April, and then the second highs in November 21. Interesting that gold versus Bitcoin peaked at exactly the same spots, suggesting there is some kind of correlation there, spooky correlation. So yeah, here we are now. This looks to me like a bull flag, which you could draw it as such, with this trend line here and another trend line up here. So yeah, I suspect we may have another little pullback here into September. If gold keeps pumping, gold just made new all-time highs. If it keeps going, then we could get another little pullback, but then I think we're going to start showing gold some carrots as liquidity starts coming into the market. And here is the global liquidity index. You can see that it's just broken out. It's just broken this trend line. And it looks like it's going to new highs in the near future to me, which is obviously bullish for our extremely risky shitcoin assets. And here is the same global liquidity index on the gold chart. Here it is making new all-time highs, and this is the weekly gold chart. You can see the rough correlation. This here is the bear markets in 2018. Gold pumping into April 18, small pullback. Yeah, and then this is the last cycle bull where a shit ton of money was printed, and you can see how hard gold pumped into that liquidity. So yeah, that was interesting to me. And then this is just the same global liquidity index overlaid over the Bitcoin chart. If you look at it, let's just zoom in to more recent times. So here we're limiting ourselves to the last cycle, which started roughly with the COVID dump and then DeFi summer. And you can see how gold basically responded pretty quickly to this liquidity pump. Then if we look at the same chart, need a mouse, don't I? Get myself some streaming equipment. Just messed up my chart. Avalanche Global Liquidity Index. And then we need to add some stuff to this. Give me all the sources of liquidity. There we go. So if we switch this to a weekly chart, basically what I'm trying to show here is how Bitcoin lags this liquidity by a few months. So here we have gold liquidity pumping, and gold is basically front running it. It's sniffing it out. So this is June 2020. This is after the COVID dump. This is when everyone started getting their stimmies. And gold is front running that. Liquidity actually increasing after gold pumps. Part of that would be due to the fact that gold is also a hedge against geopolitical risk. COVID being a global pandemic, it's a pretty extreme risk event. Here you can see the liquidity pumps in Bitcoin doesn't front run it, it slightly. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that if gold is making new highs, give it 2 months, 3 months, and it's likely Bitcoin will follow suit. Because we are getting an influx of cash into the system. Right now, we're still dismissing the fears around recession in the US. That's kind of out the picture now. So we're at the point where Bitcoin should start sniffing out that we're in a risk-on environment, which is good. Good for the wider markets. Cool. I hope that macro stuff wasn't too boring. We can actually look at some charts now, because despite the crappy market conditions, I mean, let's look at Bitcoin quickly and get rid of this. No, this is gold. I don't want that. We want Bitcoin. Let's just start off crypto with Bitcoin, because we had a bit of a crappy weekly close. Still green on BLX. I actually thought it was red. Let's just get the Coinbase chart. Yeah, on the Coinbase chart, the weekly was red, only just pretty meh, kind of shitty weekly close. Sold off right at the last hurdle. We just focus in on the correction. You can see we have this volume node here around 57,250 is the peak of support here. To me, as long as this holds, I can't be bearish. This was a shit weekly close, but at the same time, if the support holds, this is an important pivot to me, because we've already tested this level. Let's just draw it out. Just get the old purple box. This is 52K support. Basically derives from this price action over here. We've tested it already. Here you can see where we made new lows. We made new lows. When we revisited those lows, it didn't hold. We made a lower low. When we revisited these lows, it didn't hold. We made a lower low. So to me, this level needs to hold. Otherwise, you're making lower lows, and that is worse than any of this other price action, because it looks like capitulation. We haven't gone back up to the trend line. So that to me is then a potential waterfall cascade of nasty price action, which will take us down to this level right here. Fellow liquidity enjoyers. Exactly. It's all about the liquidity, guys. All these shit coins is just a liquidity trade. So yeah, if we go back down here, no bueno. This will likely fail. It's just going to be a massive lower high. and there's a big air gap that takes us all the way down to 43K. So far, that hasn't happened. It's looking pretty good. Not good. The PA has been awful, let's be honest. But let's just zoom in on the daily. It's chop, but this level hasn't failed. As long as this holds, there are going to be opportunities to long stuff, which is what I've been doing. I've been busy on Hyperliquid. Here's one thing. Okay, so this is kind of embarrassing, but I've been longing Tron because this thing has been pumping like a motherfucker. Let me just zoom out to the weekly. This nice big cup and handle structure is quite beautiful to me. Back to the daily. These green circles are 10-20 MA crosses on the daily chart. So this is a 10 moving average and a 20 moving average in the green. You can see here it gave you an entry signal down all the way down to 10 cents, pumped all the way to 14, and then a beautiful short signal took you all the way down here. So these have been quite reliable. A bit of chop over here, but here again another really good entry at 1140 all the way up to 1370, and we just had another one, and it looks like we're heading up to this important level here at 1430, which is where I will take some profits. But this long's doing nicely so far. Not 100% on the fundamentals for Tron, but I know there's been some FUD around WBTC, and apparently a lot of it is moving over to Tron, and it's going to be custodied in Hong Kong, and yeah, I don't know, supposedly bullish. I know a lot of the stablecoin volume globally is on Tron, more than any other chain. So kudos to His Excellency Justin Sun for hooking that shit up. He's obviously making a huge bundle of cash. And I'll be long this thing at least until 1430, and then I'll wait and see what happens. But it looks good to me for continuation as well. Big cup and handle here. Could go massively higher. You know, we could do a fib extension on this. I haven't really thought beyond 1430 yet, but if we take this low here to this high here, and this is the pullback, that gives us a bull target of like 26 cents, which is almost kind of a 2x from where we are here. So yeah, on an average trade, you can make some decent cash on that. So I hope we get this breakout. Yeah, so that's one thing I'm long. And then here's something else I long today. Basically, this was today's newsletter chart. Just make this a bit bigger. This is BNB. If we zoom right on BNB, it's probably a bad idea. This is going to take a while. But essentially, back in October 23, this is where CZ got the boot, which was massively bullish, and we got this huge run. On the weekly, you could say this was a range trade, basically. If you switch this to, that's a log chart already. I don't want to draw over my daily chart drawings, but yeah, there was a huge range here. There's the mid-range there. There's the bottom of the range there. This is a log thing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Richard Teng's the new dude who took over at Binance right over here, and he pumped BNB pretty fucking hard. So kudos to you, Richard. Let's get rid of this range because that's all in the past. And zoom back into the daily. Just wait for this to refactor. And here we go. And I think the volume profile should be coming in any second now. So basically what happened here is we got this massive run up into June on BNB. This is after, 3 months after majors started correcting. It was hugely bullish price action. I guess at this point, majors made a trip to the top of the range and BNB just kept going. Most of BNB's customer base are in big developing world nations, and interestingly, not even all in Asia. A lot of them in Brazil, I guess in Mexico, maybe some in Nigeria and Africa. So places with big young populations, maybe not big spenders, but there's a lot of them, and they do a really good job of onboarding these people, which is interesting to me because there's simply a lot more of them than your typical Coinbase customer who might have more cash to spend. Coinbase has a lot of institutional customers, but BNB is doing the legwork to onboard the developing world, and they're young people. They're getting them young. Maybe they make some more cash in later life, whatever. I'm bullish on Binance. I think they're smart. They're just quietly going about recruiting a large proportion of the planet to crypto, doing God's work, the work that we need to be done. We should be grateful. So yeah, this thing pumped, and then awful price action if you thought it was going to keep going, because it sold off right back to this point of control, failed to reclaim, and then dumped to all the way back down to 450 from a high of 720. But the point is, and then try to reclaim it again and dump to again on this last Bitcoin dump, all the way down to 400. Point being that this liquidity at the lows has been taken at this important support level. And the way markets work is a large part of them, part of price action in markets is about finding value, fair value. But the other 50% or maybe even 60% is about finding liquidity on the chart. And there was a huge amount of liquidity down here when we spiked into these lows, and you can see the massive volume candle, people getting liquidated. So what happens when you've taken liquidity at the lows? Either you need to find more down here. I don't think that's going to happen because this is a very profitable business. We're not going down there. I think we're going to hunt for liquidity higher, which will mean reclaiming this point of control, taking this liquidity here, maybe correct there, then pumping higher. This is an important point over here, more liquidity up here. Then we'll probably correct down, test this level again, and then come up to the highs here at 720. I think that's probably the most likely path. We've just had a 1020 MA cross over here. A lot of chop, a lot of crosses in here that are just part of the chop. But you can see there was one down here in February that gave you this massive run up from 300 all the way up to 560. So I suspect it could be another good one, even if it doesn't work out because it crosses bearish over here. I still think the squiggle has a high likelihood of playing out. Bullish squiggles for BNB. And then what else are we long? Oh, this was just interesting to me. I don't hold any Coinbase stock, but just the correlation coefficient with BNB. BNB market cap. You can see how correlated it's been. Interesting because obviously BNB is not a stock, and Coinbase stock is beholden to the proclivities and idiosyncrasies of the stock markets. If you get a risk-off regime in the stock market, that's going to affect coin. But these two, let me just go to these squiggles. But these two have been pretty correlated. BNB pumping after coin, but all of this chop, and then same dump over here. Big bounce for BNB. It'd be interesting to see if Coinbase doesn't roll over here, because BNB looks to me like it wants to go higher. Just an interesting correlation. I mean, BNB is essentially the stock market's equivalent for Binance of what coin is for Coinbase. So yeah, and then AVE, still long AVE, massively bullish chart. Although this is a very zoomed in, choppy version of the chart. All these red circles just correspond to lows. That's why I had the 4 hours in it, because these red circles correspond to 4-hour RSI dumps per sub 30, which if you're accumulating is a good way. a good place to accumulate whenever RSI is oversold on the 4-hour or higher time frame if you want. But yeah, so let's just look at the daily. So yeah, today it looked to me like we might be rolling over here. So I'm not too sure where that's going to take us, but I'm pretty sure if I zoom in again to the 4-hour, let's get rid of that this RSI will come down here probably before the end of the month. Let's redraw that box. But yeah, I think we're gonna be oversold. This is a downtrend, so it's a sign of short-term weakness. So these boxes should really line up with that. So let's just redraw them. Point being, I don't know where price is going to be when we're oversold, but that is where I'll buy because it's likely reversal point. I don't know if that means we are going to get this level over here. You can see there's a volume node here. Let's get some more of this PA on the screen so that these volume nodes can refactor themselves. This is why I was looking at the daily charts, isn't it? But basically, 4 hours better. Time to buy has been the 4 hours oversold, in my opinion. And the stochastic, you could see, is starting to coil up at the lows here. So if we're coming all the way down to 30, we're probably going to chop around over here with the stochastic. Hopefully it turns around at the same time. It'll be a nice signal. And price is either going to come down to here, stop there. I don't know. I'm just going to delete these because I don't actually know. But I will look at RSI, and that will tell me when to buy. This will give me a secondary signal. But either way, I'm still long. We could even turn around here. But I have left some headroom in my leverage account to buy these lows if we get them. Still a chance that we reverse here at the 50 level. But my base case is that we come down here with our there. But I still have a decent bag even if we don't. And then this is to actually look at the daily time frame in a useful fashion for the first time. And this is when you see exactly how bullish this chart is, because we've oscillated around this point of control and now we're sitting on top of it. And I don't think we're coming under a 90 again. I think we'll probably reverse at 100, maybe 90. And when we break this trend line, could be quite explosive. So if we zoom out again to the weekly, get rid of that. Let's have a look at RSI and get rid of the stock, because this RSI paints a nice picture as well. Just get rid of that. And you can see this beautiful long-term uptrend on the weekly RSI. It's never really made a lower low. It's just higher lows all the way up here from this level. So to me, this is compression, bullish compression. And when we break this downtrend, you could get a quite explosive move. Obviously, lots of good fundamental stuff happening on Aave with the fee switch and a bunch of other proposals. You can go and watch a podcast, find out about that. Super bullish on this thing. The most lending protocol, DeFi 1.0, still going very strong and working pretty hard to sell themselves to Tradfi, to the market they need to sell themselves to take things to the next level. Cool. So, and then CRV is another one. I'm long, a little bit underwater at the moment, but I think this level is going to hold. If I zoom out here, again, I will look to buy this level. Got a bag, but I will add when we get this level on RSI. You can see how it's been a reversal level over here, over here, over here. It's been a solid place to buy. Not so much there, but definitely over here where it's been sub 30. Spikes below 30, and we're in a bullish place on this chart. If I zoom out to the daily, you can see we have this uptrend on the daily on RSI, so we're probably not going to get that low. This is the mansion liquidation level. I forget the Russian dude's name. We found it Curve, the daddy of the curve wars. Borrowed a shit ton of money to buy himself a mansion, couldn't pay it back, got liquidated, and that's why you have this huge volume node over here. This line here I marked out to show the bull div with price making lower lows, RSI making higher highs. We're rolling over on the stock, but I'd be surprised to see us much below this level. So I have some buyers down here. And apparently people have been loading up into this 4-year lockup. Hickson wrote about it in the newsletter, I want to say on Wednesday, Thursday. Go and have a look in DGen Corner. So yeah, some fundamental bull cases for Curve as well, if you want to get involved. This might not be a bad spot to place some orders around this 28 level. Cool. And then just to look at Solana, which has been pretty choppy, but I think it's compressing. It looks good to me. Sol ETH also interesting. We broke out and got rejected on the week of the 5th. Shitty week last week, not much movement, but looks like we're coming back here to break back above this important level of 0.555, where we consolidated underneath, for a shit ton of time from Christmas Day, basically last year. We kept tapping at this level, finally broke it, in keeping with the painful price action of late. I managed to reject all the way from up here at 6.4. But I suspect that this breakout will hold on higher time frames, like the monthly. I suspect this monthly candle will be looking healthier when we close it at the end of the month. Yeah, bullish on Solana versus ETH. Sorry, DAC. I know you're long ETH for whatever mentally ill reason. Tried to be bullish ETH the other day and it was a fail as usual. I thought ETH BTC was going to get some love. It might still happen. Let's just have a quick look. So I just marked out this level here on ETH BTC on, I think I may have posted this on Friday, where it looked like we were going to claim this level here, this volume node, and this looked like a nice bullish bull flag, and of course it's got sold off to shit, and we still haven't, bullish day on Sunday, but still haven't claimed it. So I'll watch this. This could be a nice bullish move for ETH BTC. If we claim this level on the daily, we've got to get past here at 0.048, and then you have the trend line from hell over here. We zoom right out to the weekly. If I was a duck, I would look to take some major profit over here because this trend line's been undefeated since ETH went proof of stake or proof of staircase, as you can see on the chart. Worst upgrade ever. If you're looking at price action. So if we reclaim here, then I think you've got a good long entry up to here to 0.52. I wouldn't be taking that long. I'd rather be long Solana. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've got for today. If anyone wants to look at anything, not too many people in the chat. Like I say, I'll be back in the UK late tomorrow, and then I'll do another stream on Wednesday. Flying all day tomorrow by Addis Ababa for my sins. Not the greatest airport, but a Burger King that sells burgers of questionable origin for about $20 a pop. Other than that, there's not much to do. Cool. Thanks, guys. Catch you all on Wednesday.